Hey YouTube, Billy here. Today I want to talk to you about a portable heat source that does not use electricity. And that's the Portable Buddy by Mr. Heater. So I picked one of these up because I've been wanting one for a while. I have a portable propane heater that's indoor safe like the Mr. Buddy is. But it's an older style one, and I've been wanting to try out the Mr. Buddy to see if it was any better. And I'll cover those results in another video, but what I really wanted to talk about today is just this heater, and it's an option for you if you're like me and are using your garage or a shop and you don't have heat out there and you need a heat source. This is way cheaper than me putting in a heat source in this garage and trying to keep it heated all the time. So back in the day, I worked on construction sites, and they used to have those big torpedo heaters running in the job sites. Those things stink. They're not healthy. They put out a ton of CO. You don't want to be carbon monoxide. You don't want to be around them in an enclosed space. Sometimes I'd be working on a job site, in the day I'd have a headache. They also have those heaters that attach to the top of a propane tank, and it's like two globes or one heat source on top of the tank. Typically those are really not indoor safe either. Those are things that are supposed to be used outside. The torpedo heaters technically can be used on a job site as long as there's adequate ventilation, enough airflow going through there. But I'm telling you from my experience, when I used to be on job sites where they'd have plastic sheeting hung up and they'd be running those heaters just to try and keep it somewhat warm for us, it was nice to have the warmth, but the stench and the smell of it was just, I used to hate being around those things. So long story short, this is nothing like that. This really does not have an odor to it. Sometimes I'll notice a little bit of a propane burn smell when I'm using one in the room if I step out and come back in, but it's so minimal that it's not something that you really need to worry about. What I want to do is show you how these work, what's involved in them, and basically some options for you if you decide you want to go this route. So first off, these are listed as indoor safe. Puts out 4,000 to 9,000 BTUs of heat. The handle folds down for storage. And the regulator, which is this little thing on the side, and I'm going to bring the camera and we're going to look at it, swivels in and out for you to attach a tank to it. Or if you're going to hook up a larger 20-pound tank to it. They have a self-igniter system in here, the piezo lighters, where you just turn it, it clicks and it starts it up. It also has a low oxygen sensor, so it'll shut down, safety shut off, and it has a tip over safety shut off on it as well. So they do a pretty good job at keeping these as safe as they can keep them. Alright, so this right here on the side is the regulator, and this is where you're going to screw your tank into. Tank's got the male threads, female threads on here. You just screw it in until it's tight, and then what's nice about the Buddy heater is that little thing I'm pointing at right there is a magnet, and it helps keep it locked in. To start the heater up, we push down. Now the first time that you're going to use this, and at times after, you need to get the line to purge the air out of it before the pilot will ignite. So you need to hold it for a couple seconds. You'll hear it start to hiss. So what we're going to do is we turn it to pilot, we push down, and I pushed down. You saw that spark. That was the igniter trying to spark. I'm holding it down, letting the gas go, and the flame just came on. Now we hold it for a minute. It's actually not a minute. I'm speaking out of line. It's actually, they say 30 seconds. I could let go now, and it's new, so it's already engaged. The flame is. Then you push down a little bit, and you turn it. If you just try and turn it without pushing down, it won't turn. I've seen people make that mistake. You turn it to low, and you'll see the flame come up here and ignite. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut it back to pilot. I'm going to turn the lights off so you can see it do it. Alright, that's much better. So you can see the pilot flame real nice now. Just push down slightly, and that allows me to turn it. And there it goes. Now you can see that nice. That's a low setting. That'd be about 4,000 BTUs. And then I can turn it again to a high setting. What will happen is that'll start to glow orange. But that's your heat coming out of there. This has real nice heat output on it. And then to shut it off, you just repeat the process backwards and then turn it all the way to off, and the pilot goes out and you're shut down. Mr. Heater says that this heater will run 3 to 6 hours on a 1 pound tank based off of what heat setting you have and how well the tank was filled. If you hook up a 20 pound tank to it, that pushes you up to 40 some hours, up to 120 hours. And I am talking about one of these guys. To do this, you have to get one of these, which is an adapter hose. And what this does is it has one end will screw onto here, will thread onto here, and the other end will thread into here and mimics the mil thread that's on these 1 pound tanks. But they say that if you're going to do that and you're going to use one of these bigger tanks, they have a concern that there could be some debris or residue in this tank. So they want you to put an inline fuel filter on here, or they say you void the warranty, is the way I understand it. This fuel filter, and we'll open one up and do it. So this fuel filter has a male thread, female thread. It will thread into the regulator. Then we'll take a 20 pound tank. It has one of those hoses hooked up to it. And this is a very important step. Leak detector. So what I'm doing is I check the connections here, put a little of this on there. If there's a leak, when I open this up, and I just heard it pressurize the line, I would start to see bubbles. So we're going to check our fitting here, and we're going to check around here. Now if you don't have gas leak detector, you can use soapy water. Make it really soapy, a little bit of water, and if you have a brush or some kind of an applicator, and just apply it to that and it'll do the same thing. Alright, I've dimmed the lights so you can see it in action. I'm going to turn this over to pilot. I'm going to push down, let it vent for a second, and then push. There's my pilot flame. Let go, and it's holding. Again, the book says hold it for 30 seconds. When they're new like this, it's just a few seconds and usually you're good to go. Then we'll turn it to low. See the flames come up? And we can turn it up to high. And as you can see now, it's glowing orange and it's giving me a nice heat output. Okay, so some things to consider, especially when you're hooking up a 20 pound tank to this. Make sure you leak test your fittings. Soapy water works fine. They say don't bring one of these tanks inside. I get that, but I'm heating my garage. So I've got it in my garage to run the heater. It's how I do it. You don't need to do it that way if you don't feel comfortable doing it that way. I'm showing you how I do this in order to provide a heat source in my garage. If you have a shop or a garage that you want to do it like I'm doing it and you want to run it for a long period of time, this is an option for you. The filter, Mr. Heater requires that if you're going to do this sort of a setup. I have a Dynaglow heater that is similar to this, and I've been running it without the filter and I haven't had any problems. But they require a filter. I want to say I paid about $10 for this filter. They're either 10 or 15 bucks. I got it at Lowe's. You can find these 4-foot hose setups. Amazon has them for I think around $10. If you go to a home center, you're probably going to pay 15, maybe even 20. I saw a 12-foot hose setup and they were asking, I want to say $30 for it, and that was at Lowe's. Now the nice thing about a 12-foot hose is it would allow you to put the tank outside your garage door, run it underneath, and you could have heat in your garage that way. You know, you just want to be careful. You don't want to smash this hose or anything like that, like with a garage door. So you want to make sure you weren't, you know, crushing it with a garage door if you were doing it that way. And again, the reason why a 20-pound tank is attractive in this kind of a setup where you're trying to heat a shop or a garage is because it's giving you 40 plus hours of heat, more than likely a lot more than 40 hours. And you can get this tank filled cheaply if you have refill centers around you. I go to Tractor Supply and get this tank refilled. I had to buy one of these tanks first. Then they fill it for you, and it's your tank. You own it. You just take it in when it's empty, and then they purge it and refill it again. And I want to say it runs around $10 to get this refill. I'll see when I go to refill it again, but the last fill up I got on it, I think I paid $10 or $12. So it's a lot cheaper this way versus running these 1 pound tanks. And I don't think I covered this. Make sure whatever you do, don't put another propane regulator in line. There's already a regulator on here. You don't need to have another regulator messing with this regulator. So we don't regulate and regulate one regulator. They've already got it built on the Mr. Heater Buddy, so don't add another regulator in line. Your adapter hose, filter, and into their regulator, and you're good to go. Alright, well, as always, I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.